Good morning again, my friends. Welcome back to the ACFO-ACAF Virtual Career Fair. Our next session is with our friends from Justice Canada. I'll turn it over to them in just 1 second, but first a reminder, if you've got questions for the panel from Justice Canada, you can submit them using Slido. So go to www.slido.com, enter the code ACFO-ACAF, and you can submit your questions that way. We'll have plenty of time for questions at the end, but first we're going to have a short presentation from our friends at Justice. So on that note, I'm going to turn the floor over to Jason. Jason, welcome to the Career Fair.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Joe, for having us today. My name is Jason Pike. I'm Acting Manager of Financial Policy, Controls, and most importantly today, Community Development at the Department of Justice. Je suis accompagné aujourd'hui par mes collègues Daniel Payan et Janice Mcdonald. Prendrons la parole dans quelques instants pour parler de leur domaine de travail ainsi que les opportunités disponibles dans leur équipe. But just first, a quick introduction to Justice. As a common service provider, our main business is being responsible for the legal affairs of the government as a whole and providing legal services to other government departments and agencies. This can include anything from providing legal advice to other departments, preparing legal documentation, drafting legislation, and overseeing basically all legal mechanisms used to achieve the overall objectives of the government. As a result, the way that impacts our business in finance is that we rely heavily on revenues, so we invoice other departments for these services. So if you're looking for experience in a department with revenue management, Justice would be a good and interesting opportunity for you among the other streams that are available as well. Other than that, you'll see on our handout available on the ACFO website that our finance and planning branch is composed of approximately 150 FIs, broken down into anywhere from financial systems, financial management advisory services, and today we have Danielle, who will speak a little bit about accounting operations, and Janice to speak about corporate planning, reporting, and risk as well. Obviously, right now, pretty much everyone is working from home considering the current circumstances, but we're normally centrally located downtown Ottawa, just a walk away from Parliament Hill. We also have regional offices across the country with a few FIs there as well. So why Justice? First off, our executive and management team take pride in having an open door policy. Obviously, the context of the pandemic, things are a little different, but management really takes the time to make themselves available. On our handout, you'll see that our community development contact information is there for those interested. However, if you have any questions at all for management as well, feel free to contact any of the individuals that left their contact information there for you. Other than that, if you've taken a look at the recent ACFO community survey, the department ranked among the top 3 departments in a number of different categories. Some of the most notable high-performing areas from the survey that we take much pride in is work-life balance, flexible work arrangements, and openness with respect to leave. So really putting a focus on the human well-being side of things for employees. And finally, we have a number of community development initiatives that offer opportunities for career advancement via promotions, acting assignments, or rotations. In particular, we have an initiative such as an upcoming launch of a job swap program with organizations under the responsibility of the Minister of Justice, such as court administration services, for example, and I think there's 4 or 5 other organizations for employees that wish to gain new experience outside of the department, but within the Minister's portfolio. So just before turning it over to Janice, know that we have opportunities basically at all levels right now. So we're looking forward to receiving your CVs. We also have an open job advertisement posted year-round for those interested in at-level opportunities. So if you go on the jobs.gc.ca website, you can apply pretty much any time throughout the year. So yeah, that's about it on my side. So I'll turn it over to you, Janice.
Great. If we can turn to the slide that says corporate planning, reporting, and risk, Joe, that would be great. So hi, everybody. I'm Janice Mcdonald. I'm a team leader in the corporate planning, reporting, and risk division, which is part of the finance and planning branch at Justice. We are a relatively small division within the branch, but we nevertheless have a rather broad and impactful mandate. You see our responsibilities listed there on the slide. We are organized into 2 teams. I'll give you some highlights of what the teams do. The planning, reporting, and client feedback team. So that's the team that is responsible for producing the annual department plan and the departmental results report for Parliament. They're also responsible for maintaining the departmental results framework, which is the basis for our reporting to Parliament. And they're also starting to get into the domain of data analytics. And finally, that team manages and administers a client feedback survey that our department uses to assess feedback from our client departments. The other team is the investment governance and risk team, and that's the team I lead. So when we talk about investment governance, we're really talking about producing an investment plan for the department, which we submit to Treasury Board every 3 years. We do annual updates. And linked to that is our framework for managing our department's investment projects. So those are projects that are $1 million and above that are likely to result in a capitalizable asset. So at Justice Canada, that is usually accommodations projects and IMIT projects. So my team shepherds these investment projects as they move through set approval points or gates. We review the documentation that they prepared to ascertain that they're ready to move to the next stage, and we provide assurance to senior management before they consider the request to approve moving to the next stage. We provide analysis and assurance to them. We also are responsible for the department's strategic risk profile. So we work with all areas of the department to identify risks that are strategically important to the department that could affect the department's ability to achieve its mandate. And we also are responsible for maintaining the process for reporting on those risks. So that's kind of in a snapshot, a nutshell, what our division does. We currently don't have any vacancies at the moment, but we welcome CVs because opportunities do arise, and I'm in particular anticipating that we may have entry level opportunity on the investment planning side in the near future. And that's it for me. I guess I'll turn it over to Danielle.
Thanks, Janice. Hi, I'm Danielle Peya. I'm one of the managers in the Accounting Operations Division. We're one of the largest sections within the Finance and Planning branch. We're just under 60 employees. With that, so within Accounting Operations Division, there's 5 distinct sections. One of them, which is corporate accounting, so they're responsible for the invoicing of all the legal invoices to other departments, so all the revenues that's generated for them, the treasury systems, preparing the financial statements, public accounts, and so on. We also have accounts payable within our division, so all the invoicing, post-payment verification, travel, hospitality, and so on. I'm responsible for the finance to pay team, and within my team we provide support services directly to employees. We have responsibility for the departmental claims office. We reconcile employee pay files, we liaise with HR when we need to, and we also are responsible for the accounting treatments related to Phoenix and salaries in general. And then we also have the grants and contributions team and also a project team who's working on capital assets and other interesting projects. So with all of the different divisions, we encourage a lot of rotation within the teams so that we can have our employees gain as much experience as possible. We really look forward to doing that. So we do have some FI1 opportunities coming up. So we encourage everyone and anyone to send us their CVs and let us know if they're interested. So I pass it back to Jason for questions.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that basically wraps up our presentation. Glad we leave time for questions. I think that's the most important part of this session. So I'll turn it over to you, Joe, and see if there's any questions on Slido.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll get the questions up on the screen here in just a second. But to start with, there's somebody wondering about some of the language profile requirements, particularly at the, say, the FI3 level. But if you could just sort of generally talk about the language profile of the positions you're looking for.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of everything. Mostly, we can look into it, and if there are candidates that are interested, they can send our CVs. I think mostly it's CBC, if I'm not mistaken, for FI3. However, those that are interested, you know, they can send their CVs our way, and we'll look into it afterwards for sure.
Okay, great. So I'm going to get the questions up here. Sorry, it's just taking me a bit of a second. My computer's throwing a couple of hiccups at me. But the next question there is, are there any collective staffing processes coming up for FI1s to FI4s? And if there are, if there are specific language requirements for those positions?
There's no specific processes coming up at this point right now. However, you know, we look to use pools that are available to us. So if there are people that are in pools, as I mentioned earlier, there's also the job advertisement that's posted year-round for those interested at level opportunities as well.
Okay, great. We'll wait for a few more minutes for questions to come in, because I know the question information just came up on the screen for those who weren't sure how to submit them. So I'll ask a question that's been asked several times, and it's around availability of training and access to training. So, you know, some departments will have a specific training budget per FI. So how does it work at Justice Canada? Is access to training fairly good, and how well has it been funded in your experience?
Yeah, so access is fairly good at the Department of Justice. Some of the things that we have in place are supporting those wishing to go and obtain their CPA certification. So we cover costs for that. Other than that, I would say very open to training requests altogether. We do put maybe an average of training costs per employee. However, you know, some take less training, so we use that to cover costs of other employees as well.
Okay, great. So the next question is, you know, on your project team, what other kinds of projects might people working on the project team be involved in other than asset projects?
So, oh, sorry, Danielle, you want to take that? I'm not sure. Maybe it was for you.
Yeah, I think so. So one of the other projects that we're looking at is the standardization of procedures across accounting operations, and eventually we'll branch out to the other divisions. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to inquire, and I can let somebody know.
Yeah, well, perhaps I can speak to that as well. So some of the other projects, they were working on the wider implementation of e-signature. They're looking into revamping the process for the management of overdue receivables as well. There's a number of projects on the go, and it's not because things aren't in place. We're just continuously looking to improve. So yeah, so there's the capital assets project, e-signature, overdue receivables, as well as integrating a number of business processes into our integrated financial management and material system, which is SAP. So automating a number of processes as well using the technology available to us.
Yeah, that's great. And it sounds like there's lots of interesting projects, and it's certainly similar to what some other departments are doing. So lots of opportunities for folks. Another question here, we've seen it pop up a few times. Are you open to people coming over on assignment from other departments?
Yes, absolutely. We're open to that. Any any opportunities that people are looking for to gain experience, we're for that for sure. So send your CV our way, and we'll reach out to you if openings come up.
Okay, we'll combine the next couple of questions because it's a little bit around headcount and placement. So someone's wondering how many FI4s there are at Justice, and then someone else wondering if there are still a number of FIs in positions in regional offices. And I suppose the follow-up question to that, which we're getting a lot as well, is might that change now that there's been more flexibility around work location and would there maybe more access to positions in the region? So maybe you want to start with the number of 4s and then talk about availability of positions in the regions.
Yeah, so perhaps I should talk about availabilities and vacancies first. Right now at the FI4 level, I wouldn't say that there's any permanent vacancies. There are temporary departures, so maybe that's the area where there are less vacancies at the Department of Justice. I would say there's just a quick count off the top of my head. I just don't have the stats in front of me, but nearly maybe 10 FI4 positions at the department. If we speak about regional positions, yes, there are still positions in regional offices. They're under our Financial Management and Advisory Services Division. So basically, they support legal staff in the regions that are providing services to other departments. And obviously, considering the new circumstances and all the tools that were made available to us with COVID-19, we are looking for more flexibility around staffing and finding talent and offering opportunities really nationwide and seeing what type of talent we can attract for sure.
And Danielle, did you have something you want to add to that as well?
I do have a couple of people out in the regions on my team, some in the East Coast and the West Coast.
Okay, great. Next question is around requirements for the CPA designation. Is the CPA designation required for FI2? And maybe if you want to speak more broadly about the requirement for the designation at other levels as well.
Yeah, for sure. So it's not a requirement at any of the FI levels. Obviously, it's an asset to have the CPA designation. Me, myself, I do not have it. We have FI4s that do have their CPA designation. So really open to any of the different backgrounds for those interested in coming to justice.
And there's a follow-up question maybe we'll lead right into is there support or programs to support people in pursuit of their designations?
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps the person that is interested or that does have that question, we do have an information package on our program to support those that are pursuing their CPA designation. So if they can reach out to us, we'll send that information over to them. But basically, those that are pursuing their CPA, we kind of follow TBS guidance on what type of support we provide to employees. So leave for examination, covering training costs and things like that. But yeah, if they want to reach out to us, we can provide our information package to them. Oh, I think you're on mute, Joe.
See, I told you I'd do that. I said I'd do it at least once during the session, so I appreciate that, Jason. Thanks for catching me on that. Yeah, you'd be surprised. So there's a question there about availability of telework. So it's something we've heard for a lot of departments is, has telework been available historically? How obviously most people are teleworking through the pandemic, but have you had any guidance yet on what to expect once the pandemic is over and people start to return to the workplace?
Yeah. So us at Justice, before even teleworking arrangements for COVID-19, a number of employees had teleworking arrangements. You know, I mentioned it during the introduction where in the ACFO community survey, we ranked in the top 3 departments in that category specifically with flexibility for work. So there was teleworking arrangements before COVID-19. Now with all the tools that were made available to us and improved, I'm sure it's just going to continue to progress towards having more teleworking opportunities. I think we learned during the pandemic that although we are working from home, the level of service that we provided during telework did not decrease. So I think it's something that management understood as well. and understanding the flexibility to give that to employees. So going forward, I think it's just going to become more common at the Department of Justice.
Great, thanks very much for that. We're just about out of time, so we'll take one last question. And there's a question here. It's something that's come up with a few of the departments already this morning. How widely used are some of the data analytics and business intelligence tools? I know Power BI is a popular one. How well used are they at Justice Canada, and is it something you see growing into the future?
Yeah, so I think I could cover this. I know Danielle, in your team, there has been a start of use of data analytics. However, on the internal controls side, I can say that we use ACL, which is audit command language, and we run automated scripts for data analytics to guide us in our internal control assessments. In our resource management division, they use Tableau, which is another analytics tool to provide tables when preparing presentations during financial situation reports to management, or when they're doing costing exercises to, again, provide tables or visuals that are more appealing to management. And just recently, maybe Danielle, you can talk a little bit more on that, but our accounting operations division is looking into using data analytics to really leverage the efficiency and using that tool to gain efficiency in the work they do. So maybe Danielle, you might have a bit more on that.
Yeah, on the accounts payable, they have been developing tools and dashboards, which they've recently presented the templates to senior management. On my side, we're going to be starting using data analytics for various projects, such as our prepayment verification of salary transactions, the information we use to populate our quarterly over-under report to Treasury Board. So we use some basic ones now, but we're looking at really to expand it. We use Power BI as well within the team to populate statistics and other information to present up to senior management. So we're not by no means experts, but we're definitely using the tools and really going in that direction to leverage the software and so.
And maybe if I can just kind of recap on that. So as Danielle mentioned, we're by no means the experts in data analytics. However, at the Department of Justice, we do have a BI team, which we work very closely with. So they basically use data analytics for all the legal service aspects of things like accounting for hours that we invoice and things like that. But we do have experts on board at the department to kind of help us guide us in the use of data analytics as well.
Yeah, and the appetite is there.
I'll just add to that, because the question was, do you see justice like advancing in that? I can say from our division's work with that branch with the experts, they are certainly taking strides to use it to give us better understanding of the departments writ large.
That's great, and that's certainly consistent with what we're hearing from a lot of departments, so it's wonderful to hear. Friends, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. There were a couple more questions that popped in there, but hopefully the people who asked them can head on over to the ACFO website, find the email address there for our friends at Justice Canada and send their questions. Or hey, if you're interested in one of their open positions or learning more about the department, they're happy to take your CVs as well. Danielle, Janice, Jason, thank you very much for making some time to speak with us this morning. It's been wonderful to hear from you, and thanks for being part of the ACFO Career Fair. For those in attendance watching, just so you know, we've added one more session for today. I know those of you who were with us yesterday know that the technology completely broke apart on us for the Comptroller General's Office presentation, so they're going to be giving a presentation at 11 o'clock. Debuting some of the new tools and supports they've brought online for career development for the financial community. So please tune into that one. Once again, Danielle, Janice, and Jason, thank you so much for your time, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.